Okay, so I just wanted to make a quick video about the FRFR solution that I've got. I've got for the Xitone Active Wedge, and I love it. I think it's the best, and I've done my research. I'll break some of what I've been through down for you so you can understand where I'm coming from. There's the RCF NX10, I think they're called. This was the first and best FRFR solution for a long time, and then atomic CLRs came out, and people were saying, yeah, there's a big difference, it's worth it, we'll upgrade. Then Xitones came along as well, and they've been brilliant. One of the best things about going with Xitone over atomic CLRs, they're both fantastic, they're both at the top of their game, but the Xitones have been known to be the safer choice because they're built more robust, they're very, very sturdy and strong, they've got just as wide of a sweet spot and just as an incredible sound as the atomic CLRs. And in fact, if you rummage around on the Fractal forums, someone actually posted the frequencies for the atomic CLRs and the Xitones, and the Xitones are actually more accurate. They're more flat. They're more FRFR. So yeah, that's another good reason to go with them. Also, you might want to go with Xitones because Michael Farlow does custom work, so you don't have to get the 1x12, you can get a 2x12 or 4x12. You know, you can really talk to Mike, and he'll do his best to make it work for you. Whereas back in the days, atomics were known for having not everyone would have a bad batch, but some people had problems with them, and it took years and years to fix, and it was a real nightmare. Now, other solutions are the Electro Voice, PXM 12s, I think they're called. Now, that is, it's a decent speaker. It's a decent enough FRFR solution from what people have said. They said it's actually quite close to the atomic CLRs if you mess about with the DSP. But a problem with them is that they're very flimsy and very cheap. So the casing is really crappy. And what people have had to do is they've put twigs, sticks and supports inside of the frame so that it doesn't kind of rattle around and move and make a horrible sound. Then you've got Yamaha's QSCs, and I think they're called Red Sound speakers. Now, these are all great. They're great speakers. They sound fantastic. They are FRFR as well, but they're not ideal for a guitar environment, a guitar solution, because if I go gigging with that thing, it's really sturdy. It's really heavy. I can crank the volume all the way up, and it's not going to be like vibrating. I'm not going to hear like the wood vibrating against the floor. Whereas if you buy a speaker, it doesn't have any like supports on it. So if you put it down, it's going to be distorting the sound a lot and vibrating a lot. So that's why I've not gone for the QSCs, K12s. That's why I've not gone for the Electro Voice. That's why I've not gone for the Yamahas and the Red Sounds and etc. So yeah, I did my research, and Xitones are the top of the game. Now I also saw a lot of videos on the internet as I had a Line 6 Pod HD Pro X, and I saw a lot of videos and people getting these fantastic tones, and I just couldn't figure out what was going on. Now, initially, I figured out that what you're actually hearing on YouTube and what it sounds like in real life, when it's recorded, can be two very different things. So, for example, I got a patch of someone, a Van Halen patch, and it sounded fantastic on the his video. But when I downloaded it and I put it through my equipment, I thought, yeah, it's pretty good. It's really good, but it doesn't sound the same. And basically, there's not going to be any shortcuts with this. But I bought let me try and show you a little bit better. I bought a Line 6 Helix LT because I could have got the floor. There was a website selling the floor model for £820, but the floor model's just got like more inputs, outputs on the backs, and there was no point spending the money for it because the LT has all the same features, except it's only me putting my gear through it. I'm not having like someone's microphone, and I'll never have that going through it. And also, therefore the input outputs at the back just need to be as simple as possible, which they are with the LT, which does everything I need. So yeah, I've heard people play live using this Helix, and it sounds absolutely incredible. And they've run it through an FRFR solution, like an in-house PA system and whatnot. Now, there are one of the best reasons to go with a Line 6, and I was actually considering, possibly upgrading to a Fractal at some point. But then, after I spent some time with the Line 6 and really messed about with it, started to learn its ins and outs, there was no point switching to a Fractal because this sounds absolutely mind-blowing. The tones you can get out from it are just literally incredible and so versatile. I've linked videos below. Sorry, this is all coming through like a crappy webcam microphone, but I've got very, very good White Snake tones, Iron Maiden tones. I went on to Live Play Rock. I'll tell you about this website in a second. It's really good. And I bought some tones as well. I bought Greg Howe, which I really liked. I brought the John Petrucci again, which I thought was fantastic, and the Santana. Now I've not really messed about with the Santana too much, but the Greg Howe and the John Petrucci tones are incredible. And I've made my own. I've messed about with my own tones, and I really, really, really love having an FRFR speaker over a cab because I can use IRs, and I've downloaded about 320 megabytes worth of IR, so that's a lot of impulse responses, plus the ones I bought off the Live Play Rock in the Santana pack and the Greg Howe pack. The John Petrucci was actually all just done normally through the Helix. So yeah, if you're having what you want to do, the first thing you want to do with your Line 6 is you want to go to the Line 6 website, which is I was about to mention it a little bit earlier on. And this is one of the best things about the Line 6. You can get there's a lot of support on the website with tons and tons and tons of patches that people have made, and you have to go through them. It's really worth it because some of them are absolutely brilliant. They'll give you exactly what you're looking for. You can learn how they work and modify them to create your own tones, which is what I've kind of done. And you'll have a lot of fun with it that way, and you'll get a great tone. Now, another thing that I thought is very important to mention with the Xitones, and I'm sure it's the same, with the Atomic Seal and other ones. It's very, very loud and very, very powerful. And if you're standing directly in front of the speaker and it's exploding in your face, you're not going to be able to. Your ears won't be able to pick up the sound, very, very clearly. It's actually quite painful as well, actually. But if you step a little bit forward so that the music's hitting your chest and you can shred, maybe if you're playing in a live performance, if you want it to hit your chest, then it's going to sound infinitely clearer and much more well defined. And there is a massive, massive sweet spot. Like as you can see, I can go all the way over there, and my Xitone is over here. And the tone sounds absolutely fantastic. So yeah, super, super, super wide sweet spot. Actually, a lot of the time what I'm doing, I'm sitting with my back to the speaker, and it's so loud, it's just like pulverizing through here. And yeah, it really does hurt my ears, from time to time. But I love it, and it sounds absolutely incredible, and that's just with my back to it. So you don't want to stand directly, in front of the speaker because it will hurt your ears. Now, also, someone said someone said they had both the atomic sealer and the Xitones, and they were performing live, and the atomic broke, so they had to use the Xitones, and they found that they couldn't get the same volume. Now the reason for that is the Xitones have got a switch. You've got two inputs, and each input's got a switch from mic and line in. Now I've spoken to Michael Farlow, the owner of Xitones, and he said you can use either setting for your line 6 guitar stuff. You can use both the mic and the line 6 setting. They're both fine. The only difference is the line 6 goes up to about 20 to 25 decibels, he says, whereas the mic option goes all the way up to like 125, 135 something decibels. So it's just as loud. They're just as loud as each other. But yeah, I would go for the Xitone. It's $300 cheaper. It's more accurate, playing back whatever you kind of put through it. So when you go, if you're a professional, you go and play live, you'll have that accuracy. You won't need to tweak it out and mess about with your Xitone. I can say I can sell with 100%. It doesn't sound flat at all. With the tones that I've got through it, it's got a lot of heart, a lot of soul. It's a very, very beautiful. It's the best solution I've had, and I'll never bother to change it. I think it's amazing. Okay, so now that that's all been said, I suppose. Yeah, okay, so there's a bunch of DSP settings on the back of the Xitone. There's 5 of them. Just for your edification, I only ever use the first one, the FRFR. It's the flat response. I think the second one is for music, the third one is for voice, the fourth one is a low cut, and the fifth one is a high cut. So I recommend, if you've got a similar setup to me and you're trying to get the best sound out of your Xitone, just leave it on FRFR. And what you really want to do is I 100% recommend Live Play Rock. They've got loads and loads of patches for Kemper, for Helix, I think probably Fractal as well, and Moa maybe. Yeah, what you want to do is you want to go find your favorite artist, spend about 30 to 50 pounds. It's really worth it. It'll make a massive difference to you. You'll be able to see what they've done, how they've created their patches, and that will help you figure out how to make good sounding patches and whatnot. Another thing, like I said, I just spent hours and hours downloading free IRs off the internet. So if you want to leave me a message or something, I'll email them to you free of charge, no problem. That's some work done for you. Yeah, again, if you look below in the description, I've got a whole bunch of I'm playing different patches through my Xitone and my Line 6 Helix, and I will add more and more and more over time. Maybe if I get a better microphone, if I can get one of my friends to bring theirs over, I will record some more. They're very, it's a very, very basic demonstration. All I'm going to do is play a couple of chords and some single notes, some leads, so rhythm and lead basically, because when you a lot of patches tend to sound very, very good when you're just playing chords. And oh yeah, okay, it's got a tone, it's got growl, it's got this character. But when you play individual notes, and you really listen to how they sound, that can make a huge difference. It might be too fizzy, too high end, too much high end, too much low end. It might not be clear, it might be distorted. So yeah, that's why I play some simple lead, and yeah, then you'll be able to really hear the quality, the quality of the patch. So that's why I never just settle for listening to chords or rhythm. So I think that's it. You know why I've chosen Xitones. You know my own review of them. The Line 6 Helix, again, that's something I recommend as well. It sounds fantastic. I've heard it live. The tone is godlike. It's like really, really, really good. So the Line 6 Helix is, you don't need to look further than that. And I might even suggest that a friend of mine had the Moa G300. He didn't have the one with the foot switch. He had the other light one, I think. So I would definitely recommend getting one with a foot switch, because my one, for example, the wah pedals are fantastic. So yeah, I would recommend spending a little bit extra to get the ones with the pedals. Now the Moors, I haven't had time to mess about with them and play with them, but I've heard my friend's one and it's very, very good. It sounds very cool. I couldn't recommend it to you because I've not compared to the Line 6, but I can tell you, if you have a Line 6 Helix, you do not need to get a fractal. It's not going to be making any different. Well, yeah, it's not. If you know how to dial in your patches and you know what you're doing, you will not need a fractal at all. I've also messed about with Kempers before, and I think they're awful. The problem with the Kemper is, I thought, okay, so there's this online library with just millions and millions of different profiles, and I tried them out and they sounded fucking awful. So I think if you want to get good sounding Kemper stuff, you're gonna have to buy it off Live Play Rock, which is fine if you want to do that. But the Line 6 is where it's at for me, and I might even suggest, you even downgrading to a Moor, which should do the trick as well. Yeah, but I definitely recommend getting the pedal, and I definitely recommend Xitones. Like I said, one of the biggest advantages of going with Xitone over the Atomics is $300 cheaper, and Michael is just fantastic. He'll test the shit out of it before he send it to you. I've not had like any problems with it whatsoever. Also, yeah, Michael does custom jobs. So if you want it painted red, if you want a logo on it, if you want it 2x12, 4x12, he does all that stuff. So just remember to look at the videos below. I will be updating them as time goes by to have just as many possible examples to show off, what this thing can really do, and it's very impressive. So yeah, ignore the fact that this is all coming through a fucking webcam microphone. So I will try and improve them over time. But there you go.